Good evening. I'm calling this meeting to order. This is Dr. Jennifer Jones, Board President. First item on the agenda is roll call. Scholar representatives can begin.
Izzy Owens, Scholar Representative, Todd Beamer High School.
Eric Gollings, Director, District 1.
Trudy Davis, Director, District 4.
Lakeisha Phillips, Director, District 3.
Jennifer Jones, Director, District 2.
Pfeiffer, Superintendent, and Director Murphy is not yet online.
Next is a presentation of colors by the Todd Beamer High School JROTC. Please rise if you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting agenda. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
The agenda. I move that we approve the agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the required approvals agenda. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
I move the Board of Education approve the required approval agenda of May 12, 2026 as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is school welcome, Illahee Middle School. Dr. Pfeiffer.
Yes, thank you. Board team, we are so excited to be here in our brand new Illahee Middle School. Brand new, we've been wearing it in for about 8 months now, but you can see the beauty of the architectural design and the care that the community is taking in making certain that it stays as pristine as possible. And I just want to remind you that out there towards those doors, we not only have our garden, which is becoming more common throughout our school district, but we also have our partnership with Rave that donated the mini pitch out there with one of the only mini pitches that is also lighted in all of King County. So just like to shout out the good work that's happening here, and our principal Brianna Ward's going to do even more shouting out. So thank you very much, Illahee staff and students, for hosting us. And Bree will do our welcome, and she's going to highlight the strengths and opportunities for growth here at Illahee. Bree.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Jones, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Pfeiffer, and scholar representatives to the board. My name is Brianna Ward. I am the proud principal here at Illahee Middle School. Thank you for coming tonight. On behalf of the scholars and staff here at Illahee, I am thrilled to share with you some details about what makes our school unique. Here at Illahee, we have a great pride in our traditions and our school culture, and we are a very proud AVID school-wide school where we use AVID instructional strategies in all of our classrooms. In addition, we have adopted Where Everyone Belongs. We also call that WEB, which is a scholar peer mentoring system where we identify students that represent the diverse community here in our school, and they help lead advisory lessons with our sixth graders. They put on a whole first day of school event for our sixth graders. And the focus is to help our students that are coming into the building that are new, learn about our school, how it works, and really to ease that transition into our building. We also are known for our very supportive and energetic athletic programs, our music programs. You're going to hear a little bit from our orchestra later in the program this evening, and ultimately our just commitment to achievement and to excellence. This year, Illahee is focused on several key initiatives, and we are focused on improving both our scholars' academic outcomes as a part of Goal 4, Content Area Mastery, and our scholars' overall well-being and sense of belonging through Goal 2, the whole child, as a part of our district strategic plan. This year, in addition to just our ongoing continuous work to make sure that all classrooms have what we call strong, solid Tier 1 core instruction, we have been working tirelessly to implement for the first time a system that we call Level Up, which is a Tier 2 intervention and extension program for all scholars. And this is the first year that we've implemented such system. So it has really been a lift for all of our staff to make sure that every scholar is in the class that they need and is getting that strong instruction to help make sure that they succeed. In addition, we are always working tirelessly to make sure then that students that need more individualized support are getting that as well for both social emotional needs and on the academic side. Now to speak a little bit to scholar safety and belonging. As many of you know, Illahee has been on a very interesting path of transition these last several years as we have been a part of the longing to be back into this beautiful building. So for the last couple of years, we've been housed temporarily in a different school. And while that school was great for us in the interim, it did not provide us an opportunity to be together as a school community in one room the way that a gymnasium provides us here in our regular home. And so one of the things that this year has really been about is reestablishing those strong traditions and those celebrations and routines that help middle schoolers feel like school is fun, this is engaging, and I get to be out in front of my peers and excited about school. So this year we've been really focusing on making sure that we rebuild those structures and putting our web leaders and our peer mentors in front of each other to help raise up the strong culture that we do have. As a result of that, we have seen some great increases, specifically when we look at our student perception survey. We saw 7 percentage point increases for the 2 topics, specifically around sense of belonging and teacher-student relationships when we look at our data from this fall compared to last year. So we really feel strongly that being back in our home and being in this established school is helpful to the overall sense of belonging and well-being for our scholars. In addition, we have really strong PBIS systems, and students earn here what we call gold crowns, which is our currency. And students have opportunities to buy things in their classrooms. They have a chance to buy things at a market that runs monthly and to do things with those gold crowns around the building. All right, a little bit about our learning celebrations. So as I mentioned, we've been implementing new this year, this Tier 2 intervention and extension system that we call Level Up Time. And ultimately, as a result of that, we are really seeing some exciting things on our reading academic data side in particular. Obviously, our ultimate goal is that our students are growing at high levels and they are reaching grade level standard or beyond. But in our first year of implementation, one of the things that's been really critical for us to build systems and to build confidence for both our students and our staff is to make sure that everybody understands what this is, why we're doing it, and what's going to happen when students are in this time, because it's a little bit different than their other classes. So as a result, we are really excited. Our students are showing buy-in. They're able to explain to their families during conferences what Level Up Time is and the skills that they are working on. Our teachers are expressing confidence in their ability to deliver this instruction and to meet student needs in this new way. And we are, like I said, excited to see that there's some data showing that students are closing some gaps in reading as well. In addition, this has brought, as you can imagine, teachers and staff together for collaboration, because when we do new things, we need to lean on each other and to grow our practice together. So we've seen some excellent gains in terms of our PLC, which is our professional learning communities, and the work that they do to basically identify if students are learning the targeted skill or if they need more practice. So we're really excited about that growth. Here are a couple of data slides about this reading growth. We are in the middle of iReady testing for the spring, so we will have some updated data to share shortly. But when we look at our winter iReady data from the iReady diagnostic, we are seeing a couple of exciting things. First, when we look back historically over the last several years, this year at the mid-year, we had the most scholars that we've ever had that were on track to meet what we call their annual typical growth, which is, in other words, a goal for students that would represent what we would expect to be 1 year's worth of learning in that 1 year of school. So for students, more students to be on track to meet that goal, that's an exciting data point, again, for just us in early implementation. And then the other exciting thing is that we are seeing a more proportional amount of growth for scholars, where it does not matter where they are in their learning trajectory, whether they are 3 years behind or they are above grade level. We are seeing more proportional growth for all of our scholars, which helps us to see that we are doing a better job at meeting more scholars' needs with our Tier 2 intervention system in place. To speak a little bit about family partnership, middle school is an interesting and very exciting time in kids' lives. And we get this wonderful opportunity to, really see kids grow and thrive in a 3-year amount of time that goes very quickly. When families come into us, as families of 6th graders, they often are a little bit overwhelmed and shocked by the 7-teacher change and all of that communication and information. And math gets harder, and answering kids' questions at home gets harder. So we are really trying to find ways to help invite families in and to make middle school feel a little bit more accessible to families, because it is sometimes a little bit scary and intimidating. So this year in particular, we've been really focused on just information, easy, accessible information about things that are happening at school, especially around this level up intervention time, using our scholar-led conferences to leverage that information. And we have also been really focused on getting families here into the schoolhouse to do more volunteering, to be more present during parts of the school day, and doing things like chaperoning field trips. And in the process of that, we're able to get feedback from them while they are here and while we have them hanging out at UW, which our AVID classes went up to University of Washington for a college visit the other day. And that's allowed us to get a different lens of family feedback, and has allowed us to help get some families connected into the school that had not previously been as connected. And then finally, I'll talk a little bit about our scholar feedback. Middle schoolers have a lot to say about a lot of things, and they are very, very wise. Sometimes their very simple way of saying this isn't working, or I like this, and the reason why, it's very clear. And sometimes as adults, we make it a little bit more complicated than I think it needs to be. So our students have really been critical at helping us understand, especially through this big phase of transition for ILHE. They've been critical at helping us understand how to help them meet their needs and how to adjust through these changes. As you can imagine, none of our students in our school currently attended our old school building here at our campus. So we have 3 grade levels worth of students that walked into this building on the first day of school and had never been here. So you can imagine the need for us to work hard at making sure that even things like where do students go when they are trying to get back to the classroom wings. So we've worked long and hard to get their thoughts and their feedback and to fine tune those things. As you can imagine, middle schoolers want to be active at school. We've established field trips, dances, assemblies. We've done some pretty great things through getting kids involved in that. And as the year has gone on, we've been able to settle more around the academic side. And really, students have a couple of themes that are reoccurring. One is they want more movement and collaboration in their classrooms. They like to move, they like to talk, and they want that to be a part of their daily learning. They also recognize that they need more time to process. Going from class to class in our schedule is rigorous, and they recognize at times they just need a few more minutes to process the concept or the question being asked. And they would like teachers to be more understanding of that. And then finally, they want more feedback about how they're doing. That, again, one of the things that's very simple and very powerful. So together with our feedback, we work with our school equity leadership team to identify places where we can grow our teachers' practice. And as a school, we can adjust and we weave that into our professional development. And now I am excited to share. We are going to have members of our 8th grade orchestra perform for us here under the direction of our orchestra teacher, Lisa Schmidt. And tonight, they are going to perform a musical piece entitled Dance Scenario by Elliot Del Borgo. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that welcome and that performance, orchestra performance. So next item on the agenda is our good news announcements. Vice President Davis.
We are excited to celebrate the artistic talents of our scholars who represented Federal Way High School at the Washington State Spring Fair Junior Senior High School Art Show. Scholars, please come forward to be recognized. Adeline Anderson. Received a first place ribbon and a second place Best in Division in Portraits for the piece titled Ethereal. Okay. James McCann earned a third place ribbon in the landscape category for Diamond Head Lighthouse. Joseph Corey received an honorable mention ribbon in portraits for the work titled The Authentic Heart. Congratulations to these scholars for their creativity and for representing our district with such excellence in the arts. We are FWPS proud. We are proud to celebrate a historic double victory for our career and technical education programs. Omar Cerna from Decatur High School and his instructors, please come forward. This spring, Omar demonstrated elite technical skills across two major competitions. Facing the top aerospace students in Washington, he secured first place at the Boeing Manufacturing Assemblers State Competition in Everett. Omar followed this success with a record-breaking performance in Skills USA diesel technology. After winning at the regional level, he competed against every regional champion in Washington to take first place in the state. This marks the first time our program has won a state title in diesel technology and the first time at Decatur Scholar has. Advanced to the national stage, Omar will now represent Federal Way at the Skills USA National Leadership Skills and Conference. Congratulations, Omar, on these phenomenal history-making achievements. We are FWPS proud. Proud to celebrate the Thomas Jefferson High School math team for their exceptional performance at the 2026 Mu Alpha Theta State Math Contest. Scholars and coaches, please come forward to be recognized. Over 100 of the top math students from across Washington competed this year, and our raters truly stood out by producing several individual state champions. We would like to specifically recognize Ian Lee, state champion in pre-calculus, equations, and logs and exponents. Sanshi Sharmu, state champion in calculus, mental math, and the Jeopardy round. Janri Draculin, state champion in geometry and mental math. Francis Wynn, state champion in pre-calculus and trigonometry. Shorayu Sharmu, state champion in pre-calculus, speed math, and complex numbers. Congratulations to the entire team on this phenomenal results. We are FWPS proud. We are thrilled to celebrate the Thomas Jefferson High School speech and debate team for their incredible performance at the WIAA State Speech and Debate Championship. Scholars and coaches, please come forward to be recognized. Competing against the top speakers in Washington, several scholars reached the state finals and semifinals. Their success was a true team effort, bolstered by many students placing in the top 40 to secure crucial team points. We are especially proud to announce that TJ is home to an individual state champion. Kwesi Incho earned the first place title in humorous interpretations. Congratulations on this outstanding achievement. We are FWPS proud. Tonight, we have the distinct honor of welcoming a special partner from our community. The Islamic Center of Federal Way is here to present Federal Way Public Schools with a certificate of appreciation. This recognition honors our district's commitment to our Muslim scholars, specifically our efforts to foster an inclusive environment where students feel supported in their identity while observing Ramadan, daily prayers, and Friday services. We are joined tonight by Islamic Center of Federal Way volunteer, who will formally present the certificate and share a few remarks. Mr. Nazir Kudai Bird-Diep.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Danny Pfeiffer. I'm honored to be here on behalf of the Islamic Center of Federal Way. We are presenting a certificate of appreciation to the Federal Way School District, its board and leadership for their support during Ramadan. By allowing students to fast, pray, and attend Friday services, you have made a significant difference. For instance, you've enabled students to take lunch snacks home so they can break their fast, and you have provided quiet spaces and flexible schedules. This recognition is a small token of our gratitude for your commitment to every child's success. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Executive Limitation 4, Communications. Dr. Pfeiffer.
Threw away my dates, I'm sorry. Good evening, board team. Annually, we report out on our 4 executive limitations, and the board has set those for me. And throughout the year, we have provided presentations on executive limitations 1, human resources, executive limitations 2, scholars relationship, academic programs and conduct discipline, executive limitation 3, financial and asset protection. And this evening, the final executive limitation is communication, EL4. This evening, our Chief of Communication, Jessica Morgan, will present my compliance on my behalf. Jessica, take it away.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Jones, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Pfeiffer, and scholar representatives to the board. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an update on the superintendent's leadership of communication efforts that align with Executive Limitations 4. EL4 is comprised of 3 items: EL4A, communication and counsel to the board; EL4B, communication with the public; and EL4C, mandatory policies. Tonight, I will be providing a deeper level insight into EL4B with data and evidence towards communication with the public. This presentation will review our primary methods of communication, which include how we gather feedback and use feedback, websites, Parent Square, social media, direct mail, and our community engagement efforts. We'll begin with how we gather feedback. We have several methods of receiving feedback, which include our parent and scholar advisory, our annual panorama surveys, our Community Connect event, and monitoring engagement data on our website traffic and social media, through our comments at FWPS.org email, which we respond to within 24 hours. And new this year, we've added our multilingual parent advisory committee and special education parent advisory committees. And this spring, we also launched a communication survey to families, which is still open, and we are looking forward to reviewing the results to further strengthen our practices. Our district website, FWPS.org, continues to serve as one of the most important communication tools we have to strategically connect with our students, families, staff, and the broader community. As of today, we have surpassed over 1 million sessions for the 25-26 school year to date. Our website homepage allows us to highlight timely initiatives like recognizing celebrations to honor our diverse community, promoting enrollment and online verification, academic programs like our dual language program, and events like STEAM Night and our family academies. Over the past year, we have seen a 6.5 increase in overall web traffic, driven largely by an increase of traffic from our social media platforms and a 45% increase in direct navigation. Our website continues to offer automatic translation using web service Weglot in our top 10 languages. Spanish remains our primary translated language at 57.7%, followed by Russian and Ukrainian, each with 11%. This year's data shows how families are actively using this feature. High translation volume on enrollment and school year information pages, specifically a 142% increase in engagement for our registration services, underscores our success in removing barriers for our families. Our website was also a key part of our Levy 2026 communications plan. Our dedicated levy pages, which included a levy overview, historical tax information, and the academics, programs, and roles, the levy funds, and the frequently asked questions page reached over 9,000 active users, with the frequently asked page being the primary destination. Parent Square is our district's primary platform for two-way accessible communication with families, allowing us to share information at every level, from the superintendent's weekly e-newsletter, which consistently sees an open rate of above 34%, to school and classroom messaging. We're making strong use of the platform core features, including our smart alerts for emergency notifications, RSVP tools, for events like back to school nights and parent advisory groups, and direct messaging between staff and families. We continue to use Parent Square in innovative ways to better meet families' needs, including daily automated attendance notifications, athletic group messaging for coaches and teams, and targeted bus delay alerts for specific routes and riders. We've included board corner updates, kindergarten readiness, and high school newsletters, early summer school communications, and spring outreach for high school principals to 8th grade families to support a smoother transition to 9th grade. This year, we've also added communications to support free and reduced meal sign-up and outreach for family academies and student outreach for world language competency test and the levy. Now, in its third year of implementation, we are seeing a notable increase in the volume of communication sent through Parent Square across the district, with a clear trend towards higher frequency direct messaging. Teacher usage has increased, with 44% now using posts and nearly 80% using direct messaging, approximately 1,480 per weekday, an increase of approximately 9%. Overall usage also includes 62 posts and nearly 2,000 messages per weekday on an average since the start of the school year. Also, since the start of the school year, our teachers have sent and received a total of 348,597 direct messages, and that is a 17.5% increase over last year. On any average weekday, we are now delivering approximately 45,500 emails, 36,000 text messages, and 19,000 app notifications. Parent Square also has a robust auto translation feature, and our messages are routinely translated into more than 40 languages based on the family's preference, which they can select in our student information system. Now onto our social media platforms. We currently have 15,980 followers across our three main platforms, with X, formerly Twitter, having 2,500 followers, Instagram at nearly 3,300 followers, and Facebook, which is our largest platform, with more than 10,300 followers. We continue to outpace neighboring districts in both daily and monthly social media content with a wide range of focus areas, including student learning, celebrations, cultural and staff recognitions, and event promotion. This year, we've deepened that work by prioritizing storytelling and the use of stories, reels, and short-form video to elevate student and staff voices. Our highest engaged Facebook post this year to date is our celebration of the Thomas Jefferson High School RAID team reaching the first Robotics World Championships. And on Instagram, a highly viewed video is the Milk video featuring Evergreen Middle School that you recently viewed at the work study session. We also used our social media and Parent Square platforms as a key component of our Levy information program, beginning in November with consistent upposting cadence. Our approach on social media included a mix of static posts, photos, graphics, and frequently asked questions with short videos highlighting what the Levy funds to share clear, accessible information. Content was distributed across both Instagram and Facebook to reach a broad audience. This multi-platform strategy helped reinforce key messages and meet families where they already engage with us online. Our most successful piece of Levy content was a video featuring Sacagawea security staff member Jason Giles speaking about what he loves about his work. The video was viewed more than 8,500 times, and with more than 60% of those views coming from non-followers, meaning our Levy message reached beyond the school district community and out to our broader voting community. Oops, sorry. Okay. The Scholar Chronicle is our quarterly publication mailed to over 56,000 homes in Federal Way, available in all school offices and at the central office. We also frequently distribute copies at community events. Our content is intentionally aligned to our strategic plan and focuses on academics, life after high school, alumni highlights, and celebrations, while keeping student voice, photos, and our bold FWPS brand front and center. We've also expanded our use of QR codes, making it easier for families to access additional information, register for events, and view related videos directly from our social media platforms and our websites. Also part of our print communications this year was the Levy 2026 mailer. The mailer was sent to all households within Federal Way Public Schools boundaries to ensure broad community awareness, and the mailer included key information with Levy priorities, funding impacts, and how the dollars directly support student learning and school operations. We continue to make strong effort to be visible and present across the community and also work to best support our multilingual families and community members by providing interpreters at events and having sign language access devices, including our ILA translation devices, available for use by trained staff. This helps ensure families can access information, ask questions, and fully participate in district events and conversations. We hosted our annual State of Education event in January and provided multiple educational programs and operations Levy presentations across our community, civic, and nonprofit partners. Our spring community event welcomed nearly 200 total attendees, creating a meaningful opportunity to connect with families and community leaders. We're actively engaged in several service organizations like the Lions Club, Kiwanis, and Rotary, helping strengthen community partnerships, and we actively pursue events and activities to engage our community partners in our work, like the YES Network, Community in Schools, and Federal Way Arts Foundation. Across the year, we have attended or will attend more than 15 community events, including the Farmers Market, Lions Car Show, State of the City, Kids Day, Touch a Truck, and more, ensuring FWPS is out in the community and building trust and awareness. Looking ahead, we're focused on strengthening how families access information by building out more resource-driven department and program web pages, including our CTE and CCR page and our health services pages over the summer months in preparation for back to school. And we're also investing in professional development for our school communications managers to ensure a strong start to the 2026-27 school year. In addition, we're expanding community connections through a new multilingual event and launching VIP school tours with the superintendent. Finally, we'll continue driving enrollment and back to school engagement over the summer months while we refine our overall social media strategy. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. Board members, are there any questions? I think that you have communicated very well, so thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is the middle school and high school master schedule update presentation. Dr. Pfeiffer.
All right, board team, as you're aware, this year was the first year of our middle school schedule, and you heard Principal Ward speak of it. And then this year, we also convened a committee to study and analyze our current high school schedule. As you recall, this work was started in 2019, 2020, and then COVID happened, which put us into remote learning. So we were unable to move forward with this work. This year, we relaunched a committee to examine our high school schedule, and Marla Newton, our deputy superintendent, David Herrera, our learning improvement officer, Dr. Eric Hong, executive director of college and career readiness and CTE, and Dr. Spencer were part of the lead team that facilitated this committee. So this evening, in just a moment, you're going to hear an update regarding our middle school schedule, as well as an update related to our high school schedule. In addition to our lead team, I'd like to thank our committee members who represented all high schools, and their thoughtful engagement and insights were integral to the committee's work and the recommendations you'll hear this evening. So I'm going to ask Marla Newton, our deputy superintendent, to launch, and she's going to be followed by multiple team members. Marla.
Thank you, Dr. Pfeiffer. Good evening, Board President Dr. Jones, members of the board, and Superintendent Pfeiffer. It is our pleasure to present an update on both the middle school master schedule and the work that has gone into the recommendation for the high school master schedule. As Dr. Pfeiffer mentioned, our purpose this evening is to provide you with an overview of the newly revised middle school master schedule implementation and the recommendation of the high school master schedule exploration committee. The work of our secondary master schedules aligns with sub-end 1, ensuring that each student graduates with the skills and knowledge necessary to pursue postgraduate experiences. We'll begin with an update on the newly implemented middle school master schedule. Shayna Watkins will lead us off with information pertaining to our newly revised middle school schedule.
All right. The Middle School Master Schedule Committee identified several key priorities to guide the decision-making process when vetting and looking at various master schedule frames. The committee elevated job-embedded PLC time and elective opportunities that carried strong importance to them, in addition to a shared belief that instructional time and intervention needed to be guiding points of consideration. The new schedule ensures that all certificated teachers have 60 minutes per week of common planning time with their grade level and content level teams, in addition to an extra 60 minutes of PLC time directed by administration. The structure supports co-planning, data analysis, guided professional learning, and instructional alignment. For our scholars, the model provides 57 minutes of daily core instruction, dedicated intervention time, and aligned elective offerings, which was a huge win for us, which ensures that all students have an enriching and overall positive learning experience. It also promotes the inclusion of multilingual learners and special education scholars in content classes, ensuring equitable access to grade level instruction. The schedule aligns with our MTSS framework, supporting systematic and data-driven student support. Our MTSS directed time is scheduled for every Tuesday and Wednesday to ensure system-wide alignment. Our content and grade level teams use this time for unit planning, progress monitoring, developing common formative assessments and other formative assessment opportunities, and Tier 2 intervention instructional planning. Our Level Up classes focus on accelerating ELA and math achievement through teacher-led small group instruction. Multiple data points are used to determine the intervention class a scholar will receive. This is not an additional elective time. It is dedicated Tier 2 instructional time to support and align to the scholar's needs. Dr. Spencer will now share information about how we supported middle schools during this transition.
We are living our motto of high expectations with high support through the MTSS directed time. We have provided principals, instructional coaches, and teachers with agendas and planning supports to ensure the MTSS directed time is focused on collectively planning for instruction. In addition to planning agendas and templates, we've provided all schools with an ESC support person to provide side-by-side support to the principals as they lead for the new schedule. We've provided professional development throughout the year to support both the instructional components of Level Up time as well as the planning for high-quality Tier 1 small groups during core instruction. This year has been a year of learning about interventions and extensions at the middle school level. Our next steps involve gathering feedback from multiple stakeholders and reviewing our end-of-year achievement and growth data in order to refine our practices as we move into the 26-27 school year. Marlon will now share about our work at the high school master schedule.
So this year, a group of dedicated secondary teachers and administration reviewed the current high school structures and explored possible options for the future. The committee aligned themselves to the vision of designing a robust and rigorous high school master schedule that would be common across all 4 comprehensive high schools in Federal Way. Not only ensuring that our scholars graduate college and career ready, but to review and design a structure that maximizes instructional time, provides for opportunities, and supports the delivery of highly effective instruction. The purpose of the committee was to serve as a recommending body, to identify factors of impact, and to come to a consensus on a recommended high school credit structure and bell schedule for all comprehensive high schools. Our focus and intention around MTSS ensuring high-quality Tier 1 instruction and supports for Tier 2 and Tier 3, inclusive of small groups, holds true at the high school level as well. We explored possible models by reviewing both local and national structures, and while leveraging every opportunity to increase instructional minutes with the hopes of being able to implement a system-wide change to the high school master schedule as early as the 27-28 school year. Our guiding principles ensured that we kept a focus on core instruction, planned for our MTSS initiative, ensured that students had rigorous transcripts by monitoring for college academic distribution requirements or the CADRs, and devising a structure that supports both enrichment opportunities as well as enhanced learning via honors courses and advanced programming. Our focus remained on ensuring strong and trusting relationships and supporting social emotional development, all the while keeping informed and working within the parameters that keep us fiscally responsible. The committee came together for 6 meetings this school year, and during this time, we spent time exploring various schedule options, identifying both technical and adaptive impacts to each. We reviewed data, helping to identify the impact of our current 4x8 structure on student attendance, academic achievement, and post-high school readiness. The committee ensured that they stayed committed to the vision and aligned to the guiding principles when considering possible options. This slide here just serves as a reminder that there are 24 required graduation requirements to receive a diploma here in Washington State. 17 of those credits are required in what are known as foundational courses, and 7 are elective. And here for us in Federal Way, while the state holds 24 credits for graduation, we hold 26, with a total of 21 of those being foundational credits and 5 of them being elective. With our current 8-period schedule, our scholars have the opportunity to earn 32 credits, so our graduation requirement is slightly higher than the state with 26 credits currently. When looking at credits per course, Federal Way Public Schools aligns closely to neighboring districts and in fact provides more opportunities for credits than other districts. However, when looking at the base schedule options, you will note that Federal Way is the only district operating on an 8-period schedule. One of the charges of the committee was to look at optimizing instructional time. This slide shows the impact that the base schedule has on instructional time per course. On the left, you will note that the base schedule, and on the right, the number of instructional hours it provides per credit earned. With Federal Way Public Schools running an 8-period schedule, our scholars are receiving approximately 110 hours of instructional time per credit, while neighboring districts for the same credit are providing more instructional hours per course. Annual instructional time per course for Federal Way Public Schools is between 97 and 122 hours, depending on the number of required credits. So this means per course, a student is with an instructor on an average of about 39 hours less than our neighboring districts. So that's approximately 8 weeks less of instructional time per course credit. So when you calculate that out further for a graduating senior across 4 years, that equates to almost 32 weeks of less of instructional time in comparison to our surrounding districts. The committee explored various models of schedules, including a 6, 7, and 8-period day. And here on the screen, you can see an overview of the models that they compared with one another, aligning to minutes per class, instructional minutes in a day, the average number of scholars that a teacher would see in a day, the percent of instructional time, and the impact to teacher planning. When exploring the models, there were some key principles that we kept in mind. One of the key drivers was the impact to core instruction and the ability to maximize instructional minutes. As you are aware, our MTSS focus is a key initiative, and we wanted to ensure that the preferred model provided time for both intervention and acceleration as scholars demonstrated those needs. High school preparation for college readiness is measured by the CADRs in Washington State. Again, those are the college academic distribution requirements, and those are mandatory high school coursework standards set by Washington State Achievement Council for admission into a 4-year public university in Washington State. The committee spent time exploring several considerations, and time was given to a straight 6-period day where scholars would attend all 6 classes 5 days a week, looking at a 6-period option where they would have extended times on Friday and alternating between classes. They explored a 7-period schedule, and we also spent some time looking at our current 8-period option and what might we be able to do differently within that structure to emphasize core and alternate elective opportunities. So as schedule options were considered, the committee kept key principles and the vision at the forefront, solving for alignment within the structure of each schedule option. And to support that, the committee utilized a rubric that evaluated the schedule options, where they were able to measure impact in categories such as graduation readiness, instructional time, instructional design and rigor, student experience, staff sustainability, flexibility and responsiveness, and staffing and contractual alignment. A survey was given to stakeholders, including families, scholars, and staff. And when analyzing the data, common themes arose around each stakeholder group. All shared a vested interest in ensuring that scholars are college and career prepared, and that schedules provide balance, consistency, and prioritize time for scholars and teachers to meet via an advisory period. As the committee reviewed, explored, and summarized the work, their preferred schedule recommended by consensus is the 6-period schedule. This schedule option increases instructional minutes, provides daily and weekly consistency, and supports the graduation credit requirements for Washington State. In order to accommodate the guiding principles of MTSS, the committee embedded an intervention or enrichment session 4 days a week. This inclusion aligns to our MTSS initiative and will ensure that all secondary schools have embedded time within the school day for these efforts. While the 6-period base schedule provides a structure that meets the state graduation requirements of 24 credits and will ultimately meet the desired request from families, scholars, and staff for a consistent and routine daily schedule, There are several implications into changing from our current model. One of the biggest changes will be the amount of elective or choice courses that scholars will be able to participate in across their time in high school. With our current 4x8 structure, scholars have the opportunity to earn those 32 credits and only need 26 to graduate. This currently awards them 6 additional credits to use an elective opportunity. With a 6-period base, all classes will count towards graduation credit. Holding 6 classes daily will require a master schedule change, an adjustment to our guaranteed and viable curriculum to account for pacing and daily instructional time, a revision to our current structure, and several other factors that will need to be considered and planned for. As we look forward to next steps, the committee has been informed that their recommendation has been shared with the board. We will continue to gather input from families, scholars, and staff, and will begin the planning for communication. Next year, we will begin the work of modifying the guaranteed and viable curriculum, developing master schedules, adjusting course selections, and allocating staff. Our proposal is to launch the new high school schedule of a 6-period day in the fall of 2027-28. However, we want to ensure that we prepare, plan, and communicate effectively. And so if more time is needed, we will be sure to take that. We want to thank you for providing us with this time this evening to share with you the current implementation of our middle school master schedule changes and to present the recommendation of the committee for the proposed upcoming change to the high school master schedule. The work of designing a master schedule is a technical necessity to support the work of high quality teaching and learning every day for our scholars.
Thank you for that presentation. Board members, are there any questions?
I don't think I have questions per se as comments because we have had a chance to do some pretty significant studying around this in quite a few presentations. What I'll start with is thanks for the update on our middle school schedule and just how it's kind of going. I really like that we are staying on pace with like the MTSS work. It's been a long movement. And it's kind of cool to see that it's hitting the middle school section. And as you can see with this work, we're preparing for high school. So thank you for your dedication and work on that, because that's a lot of districts haven't even started with their MTSS work. So for us to be already moving into getting it in the middle school and following it through in high schools, I think a huge deal. And it kind of sets us up nicely for continuing to see gains in academics. So as you've done so much work around math and just all the things, hopefully they'll be able to continue to see that in middle school. And then I don't have any questions on the high school one. What I appreciated you highlighting was just how difficult this is going to be. And I know that just for community, we have looked at the different models. We've kind of heard, because one of my questions was, why did we not look at 5th period? And it was good to point at the hours. And then I was definitely thinking, gosh, that's going to take, one, we have to make sure the students are bought in for sure, because we don't need them. We want to make sure that their voice is centered. Izzy, this is your time to shine. This is you. You can tell us what it's like to have that schedule, and then what it would look like to move forward. But I also think parents and community need to understand, because you're so used to a schedule or opportunities. I think that's going to be a big shift. And then I really appreciated just doing something similar in the college level. I understand how difficult it is to move out all the classes that are in the current schedule. And I feel like that's the part that tickles my brain a little bit of like, how we're going to get all the current students out with the new ones coming in the back door. And then that just changes everybody's lesson plans and what they've got scheduled, all the way down to like breaks. And it's all the little things that make change painful. So I'm glad that we're being intentional around how we do it and just gonna continue to get people's information. So Izzy, you're up. This is your time to shine. No pressure today. We got some time. But yeah, that was what I had.
I want to say I'm really happy to see an extra 39 hours of instruction. That's a big win, and having a consistent schedule throughout the week. I really appreciate both of those changes, and think this is looking good.
I just want to acknowledge the complexity of this endeavor that you've been working on. It's incredibly complex, trying to balance all the different issues that you had to consider. And I'm very happy to see that you are trying to coordinate across all the schools, all the middle schools and all the high schools are going to be coordinated. And one of the things that, well, two of the things that people were concerned about were the electives at the middle school level, and that problem seems to be solved. And also the issue of having all the middle schools be coordinated so that people are getting the same opportunities at regardless of what middle school that their scholar attended. So I think those two were important for people in the community and the families. And the high school schedule is going to be a shift, especially considering that students have gotten used to the idea of having a lot more wiggle room and leeway in terms of their schedule and in terms of, you know, how many opportunities they get to pass a class and so on. And the idea that everything counts is going to be a lesson that's really going to be important to emphasize for those high school students. So I appreciate all the work that went into this and looking forward to the implementation. Thank you.
So I'm sure when the kids get back to school, when this high school master schedule is done, they're going to appreciate not having to worry about, is it a blue day or a white day? Which notebook am I going to take to school? I remember those days for my own. I like that the principals and teachers and everyone have the resources that are going to support them for this for MTSS and for time and level up, because then you're not missing anything because you have it all, it's all there. You're doing it like a little checklist. But I was almost sure, if I'm not mistaken, that that's happening in our elementary schools with something like this. I said, okay, because we saw the principal going through and really checking in to see at Lake Olive.
We actually have it at all three levels. It's just more intense in the elementary with our walk to models. And now we have level up in the middle school. And we have started at our high school with our seminar class as well as our ALG companion class. Yeah, ALG extension class.
So, like I said, I got to witness some of it. And then, of course, having to witness the level up session at Sequoia. And yeah, I think, you know, like you said, it's going to take time. So we hope 27, 28. It might be 28, 29, but the progress takes time. And because you don't want to go back and have to fix something. You want it to be exactly how you want it. So I think that the scholars, they'll appreciate it when it's implemented. So, and the other big thing is, finally, I feel like, you know, what I've always said is we just have to get in there to that middle school. And now it seems like the students are just like really focused. They feel important. They feel like somebody's thinking about me. They're looking at me. They think that I'm this, you know, we're helping me, you know, the kids. So that's a good thing. Because middle school is, like the principal said, is something. So I call it the puberty proving ground now. I won't say the other thing. It's the proving ground, just like if you were in the military. All right. So thanks.
Thank you for the presentation. Next item on the agenda is the resolution 2026-06, authorization of surplus disposition requirements of RCW 28A 335180. And I will read that now. Whereas Revised Code of Washington, RCW 28A 335180 and Federal Way Public Schools Policy 6881 permits the disposal of obsolete or surplus property. And whereas Federal Way Public Schools has determined that they have accumulated a number of items such as furniture, educational aids, electronics, etc., that are broken, obsolete, or unsafe, or have no intrinsic value. And whereas these items are no longer of use to Federal Way Public Schools, and whereas the board has declared these items surplus property, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of Federal Way Public Schools as follows. The board declares these items to be surplus property. The board hereby authorizes the superintendent or designee to execute all contracts and other documents necessary to dispense with the above referenced property. Adopted by the Board of Directors of the Federal Way Public Schools, District Number 210, King County, Washington, in a regular meeting held on May 12th, 2026. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
I move the Board of Education approve Resolution 2026-06, authorization of surplus disposition requirements of RCW 28A 335 180 as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the 2026-27 contract authorization, certificated administrators, classified administrators, and non-represented administrative staff. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Education approve the issuance of contracts to all certificated administrators, classified administrators, and non-represented administrative staff, except those who have retired, resigned, or have been recommended for non-renewal for the 26-27 school year, effective July 1st, 2026.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I can't believe we're here already. I went by really fast this last year, but congratulations to all those that have retired, and I'm glad we're going to welcome the next workforce.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the 2026-27 contract authorization, certificated teachers. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
Education approve the issuance of contracts to all certificated teachers except those who have retired, resigned, or have been recommended for non-renewal for the 2026-27 school year, effective September 1st, 2026.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is school reports.
There was not a large amount of new information or major updates reported across schools this month, as I'm sure many students are currently focused on wrapping up the academic school year. However, students have been heavily involved in a variety of important end-of-year activities and events. Many high schools recently held their prom celebrations, while others are finalizing ASB elections for the 26-27 school year and leadership transitions for the upcoming school year. In addition, students are currently participating in AP testing season as well as IB testing. Overall, students are focused on balancing academics, extracurricular commitments, and celebrations as the school year comes to a close. Many schools are also preparing for graduation ceremonies, senior activities, spring sport championships, concerts, and other end-of-year events that recognize students' accomplishments and school spirit. Spring sports teams are also beginning to wrap up their seasons, with many athletes advancing to districts and state competitions, with track having their league meet this Saturday, and continuing to represent their schools through postseason events. To prepare for assessments and AP exams, many classes have been holding review sessions for about a week before the exams. Students have also been supporting one another by studying together and helping each other review important material. Although it can sometimes feel overwhelming to review an entire year's worth of learning, many students feel that these review sessions help put everything into perspective and have been very beneficial in preparing for exams. As for celebrations and end-of-year activities, many students are preparing through advisory meetings and school planning discussions regarding the numerous upcoming events. One major focus is graduation preparation, along with other school-wide traditions and activities such as lip dubs, assemblies, and additional community building events that help bring students together as the school year comes to an end.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is superintendent comments. Dr. Pfeiffer.
Well, I would like for Izzy to share her big news with everyone here because it is quite a celebration.
So I made the UW cheer team. I'm very excited about it. Yes. I think it was really competitive this year. I think there was about like 50 new people that tried out, and I think 5 girls made it and 2 guys. So it was really competitive, but I'm very excited. And practices start in August. I'm gonna have to live in the dorms over there at UW for practices every single day.
Yeah, I thought that deserved a personal shout out there. Was we're very proud of you. Can't wait to see what happens next in your future. All right, everyone. So on Wednesday, April 29th, we held our Community Connect. It was well attended, 200 participants, hearing from them about what's working, or their opportunities to strengthen our system and our support system for students most particularly. I'd also like to let everybody know that we still have our survey out and open to all families that couldn't attend, or for those families that didn't, still had more to say. One of the pieces of feedback that I got was they would like to stay with us a little bit longer. So we'll look at probably extending it for approximately 15 more minutes so they don't feel as rushed. It was just a very thoughtful and insightful evening, and I know you all got to experience as well. So thank you. On May 2nd, all of us, we went down to Memorial Field and we got to support our little elementary tracksters, those little stars, kindergarten through third grade, in their track and field event. And then in the afternoon, fourth and fifth, they each participated in like a jogathon. And then the grades 4 and 5 also competed in the 100-meter dash, and then several other field events. This is one of my absolute most favorite spring events, and I was happy to kick off the festivities, and I'm already looking forward to next year. On Monday 4th, then we also had our Lions Club partnership. You know, that's one of a really important community-based organizations that give back all the time to our students. And on the 4th was Leadership and Scholarship Night. And so alongside of Lions Club President Eric Scott, I presented each honoree with a medal and a diploma, and each high school recipient earned more than $1,000 in scholarship support from our Lions Foundation. And I just want to sincerely thank them and appreciate them in front of all of you. On Thursday, the 8th, we held the 26th annual Battle of the Books with all of our 4th and 5th grade teams at Todd Beamer High School. This year, though, was unprecedented, and with a 3-way tie for first place. I think Dr. Spencer actually ran out of questions. 37 out of 37 questions were answered correctly for the first place winners. We also had more second and third place winners than we've ever had before. So it was a really competitive group, and we'll be celebrating them here at Good News in the close future. Of course, we have our attendance cup going. Last week, I was able to attend all of those that lead our attendance efforts, and we cruised around in the car and dropped off attendance cup checks, which go to the attendance cup winners. And it's just a symbolic way of highlighting the importance of regular attendance. And I think we're headed out to 5 or 6 schools tomorrow. So kids get excited, principals get excited, staff gets excited when we have the big live huge check, but then we have to snag it back because we got to go to the next school. Just erase that name, give another one. But nevertheless, they love it and they get energized by it. And then, of course, thank you for just allowing us to be a part of meaningful evenings with the school board recognition nights, where we're able to celebrate our young people's accomplishments in both goal 2 as well as goal 4 and 5. And then, of course, our staff highlighted as well. So we're looking forward to joining you again for tomorrow evenings. That'll be the 3rd of 5, and then 2 more to follow. And then finally, just to follow up, on Monday, May 18th, we'll have our annual CTE Scholar Showcase. That's going to be at Todd Beamer High School. So if you have time, I welcome everybody in to see the spectacular career and technical education work that is happening here in Federal Way Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pfeiffer. Next item on the agenda is school board comments, beginning with Director Gollings.
Great. Well, I've been enjoying these celebrations at the end of the year. Yeah, it's crazy. The year's almost over for the school year. Had a really great visit to Federal Way High School. Got to see their work on building. We got our hard hats on. Had to have our PPE for getting out to the construction zone where the students are building tiny homes. Got to see some great work going on there. Some real world skills being learned there, and got to visit the most requested class at the school, the culinary arts class, and they were making some delicious treats in there. So they really exciting work there, as well as in the hallway. We got to see some of the marketing students presenting their marketing projects that they had completed. So really great visit, enjoying that, and looking forward to pretty soon we'll be doing graduations. So that's great.
Thank you. Director Phillips.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see. Three things I will share. I also saw that milk video and it was very impressive. I know we saw it, but then I got to see it again on social media and people really did enjoy that video. So I'm glad we shared that. I do enjoy the our board recognition nights. I think they are just so positive. It's so fun to see the kids be excited. I really like being able to ask parents, like, how's it going? How was the school year? Do you know why you're here? And a lot of parents know. They're like, well, the goal this year was, which is huge because that took a lot of work. So just kudos to you and your team, Dr. Pfeiffer, for really setting the goal for the district, having it strategically planned, making sure your teams are on board. It is translating to parents and kids are showing up and they know what they're doing well, which is huge. I don't think people understand the masterful planning that goes in when you have little kids that understand, well, I did really good in this year, or I grew 130% in this, which is pretty awesome. So congratulations to you guys and the team and making it nice. I always try and resist the cookies. I try. For my board members, I just want to share the legislative session. I serve on the WASDA Legislative Committee. We've had a meeting and meetings are continuing to step back up, which is wonderful that we can come together and start talking about legislative things. You'll even sometimes see some blurbs on the news around things that are coming up. So as we're moving into this legislative session, I would say school board directors across the state are concerned about budgeting, what the outlook at the state level looks like. They are still having conversations about cell phone policies, which is, I don't know, I think it's nice that there's a place for school board directors come together because I could say, overwhelmingly, quite a few districts have said we already have a policy in place. We don't necessarily need state direction on that, which has been good that we have a place to come together. And I know there's been a lot of conversations around LEA funding. Also, Title I funding has been huge because I think everybody's been looking at how we're funding the education system and who's taking the biggest hits all the way up from TTK through transportation, our MSOC funding. Everybody's like, we got to figure out another plan. So it was good to see us kind of coalescing around what does LEA look like and what does Title I funding look like for us as a state. So those meetings have been going on almost every 2 weeks. So I'll kind of keep you posted. If you have any questions, let me know. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Davis.
Last week, and I guess it was all last week, we had 2 visits, Camelot and elementary. And then we had Todd Beamer, which that was an interesting visit, watching them close out their year. At Camelot, all of the scholars were taking tests, so we didn't get to really do too much visiting. We didn't want to interrupt too much. But the Todd Beamer scholars were finishing up their pottery. That was pretty exciting. I didn't even know they did that. I mean, I know they did some sort of art, but I didn't know they did that. And they looked like professional work, and they were serious about that work too. They had, I mean, it was just so incredible the way it was all laid out. And I think they do get to sell it or donate it to someone that they made it for. So that was pretty good. The other thing is, I just again want to say, thank you to, of course, your team about these master schedules, because this is going to be an undertaking there, and our teachers who just keep being okay with changes and still committed to teaching, even though they're asked to do one more thing, just one more thing. So I appreciate them very much, and I'm looking forward to the CTE. It's a showcase. Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Thank you. I don't know if Director Murphy is on the line. It's not. I'd like to thank Principal Ward for inviting us to Illahee and letting us experience this beautiful building again. Impressed that they have Avid school-wide in their programming. The web that we've been hearing about from other schools, the peer mentors for the sixth graders, making that transition from grade school or elementary school to middle school, so important. The orchestra, thank you so much for letting them show their talent to us tonight. That shows the dedication, those rehearsals, that practice that goes into that, the concentration and the focus in their faces. You could see that. And that was just really, really, really nice to see. And also acknowledging the transition from temporary accommodations to the new building and all the work it takes to make sure everyone knows where to go and what they're supposed to be doing, and establishing those new routines in terms of behavior and so on, rewarding them for their PBIS accomplishments with their gold crowns that they earn and so on. And also the impressive increase in the reading growth that they're making. The efforts to get parents more involved, because we know the middle school years are so important. Those are formative years, transitioning from elementary to high school. And that's really important to make sure parents are involved in in those young people's lives and in the schools, volunteering and being engaged with what their young people are doing. And I also want to acknowledge that we made that visit to Camelot last week. I always love to go to Camelot. It's just a really nice feeling at that school. And we did see some of the small elementary school students in their math classes, which was quite impressive to see kindergarten, first, second, third grade doing actual math at a level that most people would not believe. It was just really impressive to see them, how focused and dedicated they were with their math lessons. So it's just really, really nice to see. So I appreciate the school visits. And again, thank you to Principal Ward for hosting us here today. Our next item is public comment. I don't know, we do have one, okay. So I'll read the statement here. Federal Way Public Schools Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of involving members of the public in its meetings. Per the Open Public Meetings Act, public comment should enhance rather than hinder the effective transaction of the district's business. We respect your perspectives and value your civil input and suggestions. The board will listen to public comment, but we don't respond to public comment. However, depending on the nature of your topic or question, the superintendent may ask district administrative staff to follow up. Please keep your comments brief, concise, respectful, and no longer than 3 minutes. No verbal complaints or charges against any district employee or individual director will be allowed during public comment. Thank you in advance for your comments. Comment is Wayne Carlson.
Great. Thank you. My name is Wayne Carlson. I'm a Federal Way resident and appreciate hearing the great words about this site as well. I was on the engineering design team that worked on this. And so, but I also incidentally live across the street in the subdivision right across First Avenue. The reason I'm here though this evening is to with the close of the school year to really implore you to really train your crossing guards and to get some summertime training for them. I've noticed a problem with the folks that regularly are manning the intersection or that crosswalk at 361st and First Avenue. And the reason being, in short, really is that the person doesn't get off the curb and doesn't go out into the sidewalk, or excuse me, into the crosswalk. I see the person pointing to the students. Sometimes they get confused, the cars get confused, and I've seen some kind of, as cars are turning right off of 361st onto northbound First Avenue, where there's been some hesitation by the students who get kind of dropped off in our neighborhood and then cross westerly across First, where they're not sure what to do because the crossing guard that is stationed there stands on the curb. And it's dangerous. I don't think there's anything imminent now, but I think you need to train the crossing guards because you have a problem at that particular spot, or put up a rapid flashing beacon, because that's obviously another thing you do with crosswalks that aren't being properly managed. And so I just implore you to do something about it. School year is almost over, and if that's something that's outside of your guys' expertise, maybe see what maybe the city police department could do to partner with you on that. But I'm witnessing it. It's very anecdotal. I would, and I believe that's a much easier crosswalk to deal with than the one at the roundabout, because that's a much more kind of complicated thing. So if they can't handle that, and the pointing at the cars is okay when they're pointing at the car to stop and for say a bus that's leaving this parking lot right here, but when they're pointing to a kid who doesn't know what to do, I think you're running into some real potential danger. Maybe not anytime soon, but maybe down the road with crossing guards that aren't properly trained or just aren't getting off the curb to do their job. And that was it. So thank you for this. I appreciated the alacrity to which you moved through what appeared to me at least to be a long agenda, and I was impressed by the presentations, as well as someone who has served as adjunct faculty and gone through the process of switching from a quarter system to semesters. That the academic calendar is no small thing.
Thank you for your comment. And with that, we are adjourned.